morning, Matty. You ready to rip in?
Oh, Matty, I'm ready to go. I've had a massive weekend, a bit of everything, mate. A lot of rugby league, a little bit of drinking, and a little bit of musical theatre. I went to see Elvis the musical.
Oh, really?
Friday night, and well, put it this way, it's not Tina the musical.
Oh,
it really wasn't. The king would be rolling over in his grave.
Oh, so what was the bad part about it? Was it the singing? Was it the whole thing?
Well, that's hard. That's probably the toughest question you're going to throw at me this morning. There was so much of it.
Oh, jeez. Okay.
It was dripping in badness.
Oh, dear. Well, we want to start on a positive. I mean, I wanted to sit here and we can, because the footy across the weekend was fascinating. It was thrilling, it was interesting, it was entertaining, it was everything you want, yet there's this spectre of the crackdown hanging over. So we'll get to the bad stuff in just a sec, but your take on round 23, did you notice a lift in intensity, or is this just the standard that we're at the moment? What was your take on the round?
Yeah, there was a lift in intensity. I mean, what we start to get now a month out is that there's very few games of no significance. Everyone's got something to play for, and I think yesterday is the perfect example of what we're going to see in the last month. Is that you've got a Canberra side who've got everything to play for. Their season's on a knife's edge against a Tigers side that has got nothing to play for. So what they're going to do is they're just going to ping the ball around the park, and they're going to play like free spirits, and that's what. So a lot of these sides are going to be up against is they're going to be playing against sides who have got nothing to lose mentality. They're going to play with a real underdog spirit. There's going to be some upsets. There's going to be some really close games. I loved it. I thought it was great. The Saturday afternoon game highlights why day football beats night football hands down. Cowboys up against the Broncos. That was a special game. I loved it.
And that leads to a couple of points. One about the biggest danger team of those at the bottom of the ladder, the Dragons and the Tigers, and another about day football and where State of Origin fits into that. So let's go off on those tangents straight away.
Okay.
We'll get to the crackdown in just a sec, but you've raised the danger teams and the teams that have just nothing to lose. So I've broken down the Dragons and the Tigers, 16th and 17th. The Dragons have the Rabbitohs, then the Storm, then the Warriors and the Knights. So all four teams currently in the top 8. The Tigers have the Warriors, then the Dolphins, Roosters and Manly. So if you look at it, if the Dragons continue to throw caution to the wind, they could do some damage, mate. They could do some damage to teams that are hovering around either top 4 or top 8.
Well, they all can. And an example of what makes me nervous is we've got my Knights that have won 5 in a row. They're flying. They're coming up against the Bulldogs, who are coming off a bye. They've had 2 weeks of self-assessment. They've got guys like Viliame Kikau will be second up start, and they'll be buoyed. They'll come out against Newcastle and just throw everything at the Knights. And the Knights, suddenly it's funny, isn't it, Matty? A lot of sides like Newcastle have worked themselves into a position now where all of a sudden they're hit with expectation. We expect something from them. They're not going out there just playing loosey-goosey. They got something to win, something to play for now. They've got themselves in that top 8, and they've got to stay there. And that adds another layer of pressure. This game, like what looks straightforward on paper, that game at home against the Bulldogs, and 99% of fans will just write down, okay, we've got 2 points there, is going to be extremely tricky.
Yeah, and tricky's a good word to look at the final 4 rounds of the competition. Let's then have a look at WA getting State of Origin locked in for 2025 and 2028. So we know that Melbourne in the mix for 24 and 26. This is really clear that the anomaly of State of Origin of having 2 games at home for one state, depending on each series, has now been viewed as an opportunity to cash in. And so they're taking it to these neutral venues. What's the purpose, do you think? Is there any greater purpose to this and any other way that the NRL could expand the game or take it to afternoon or do whatever, aside from just cashing in on a game?
Matty, I like Perth and I like Melbourne better than I like Adelaide. Adelaide is just about cashing in. Do we see an Adelaide side in the next 10, 15, 20 years? Well, no, I don't. So that is just all about cashing in. I like Perth going over there because can I see a Perth in the next 10, 15 years? Well, I can. I think there's an opportunity there, and so I support not just cashing in on the game. The game can always do with the money, but also with that vision to expanding in that city.
So, but you are a fan of looking at one of the three games to be played in the afternoon, back to that afternoon footy style.
Definitely, Matty. State of Origin, it would take the concept to a whole new level on a dry Sunday afternoon, pinging the ball around the field. Yeah, it'd be something special. Yeah,
we'll throw that out to our listeners. Do you want to see more afternoon footy? I mean, everything's geared, obviously, towards the bright lights of sport. Sport often looks better under lights, no matter where it is or when it's being played. But would you like to see more afternoon footy? State of Origin in particular in the afternoon. 0457 736 736 is the text line, and 1300 01 1170 is the open line. Righto. Crackdown or no crackdown? Did we have a crackdown on the weekend?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did, Matty. They've fired a few shots across the bow a month out from the season to try to gain a little bit of control on the sides. They must have viewed there was a few things starting to get frayed around the edges, and they're just pulling it back a little bit. The thing that, I just see the inconsistency at the moment with the high shot. For a player to get sent off and then just get a week under the guise of people going, because part of the punishment's been sent off. But hang on a second. If you've got a guy like Tom Burgess, who the Bunnies now, their season's on a nice edge, and he's been rubbed out for 3 games on a tackle that looked really, I'll be honest with, identical or even lesser than. That's hard to work out. But there was most definitely a crackdown in and around the rucks, the 10 metres. Yeah, it was on for sure.
So we'll get the charge sheet from Sunday's matches today. And as you mentioned, Tom Burgess, grade 2 careless high tackle, so 3 to 4 weeks. Mo Fodawaker and Nathan Brown also facing time on the sidelines, both sent off for high tackles. So that's still to come into play. And then we'll see what happens yesterday. And then we'll get Graham Annesley's explanation this afternoon, mate. I mean, do we get any answers as to why they decided to go hard on the weekend?
I don't think so, Matty. I don't. They'll probably deny there's a crackdown. What they'll say is that they recognised some things that were creeping into the game that they want to address before the finals. I don't have a problem with a crackdown, particularly when they have a crackdown, Matty. I support crackdowns on the ruck. When you start to get teams starting to lay on the ruck a little bit and slow the rucks up, because that affects the quality of the contest. And I've got no problems with a week or two stamping down on that to get the game flowing again.
Johnsy, how does this work? Do the clubs get forewarning of something like this? Do they say, look, the rucks are getting sloppy again, coaches, you're on notice, let your players know we're on notice, or do they just come out and say to their officials, blow the whistle, let's blow them back into discipline? Yeah,
sometimes they do forewarn them. It's a little bit like, back in the day when you're a skipper and you walk up and the referee used to say before games, hey, listen, I'm just going to let you know I'm going to go hard on the 10 this week. Go back and tell your teams. Well, sometimes they'll send that out through the week and eat it to the sides. We're going to crack down on certain areas. Matty, I don't have a problem with them just going out of the blue and just going okay, and suddenly a referee is tough on the 10 this certain day, or wanting the tacklers to peel off the player a little bit quicker. I don't have a problem with that. See, this is the thing, right? When a team starts to work out how a referee adjudicates the game, that becomes a problem. Like Billy Harrigan, right, Matty? This is an example. We started to realise that Billy Harrigan prided himself on not blowing penalties. So what that would mean is that you could lay on the tackle play just that little bit longer. Righto, dare him. He doesn't want to blow a penalty. He doesn't want to do it. That's right. He's going to give you more time. With there are other referees, you knew you had to get off quicker. Every referee, I have no problem with it being every referee having a little bit of something different about them. You can't let the teams know where the line in the sand is, because they'll abuse it.
Because I did see some quotes across the weekend that no, it's not a crackdown, that we're, the discipline's getting out of hand here. And my instant reaction was, we're 23 weeks into the season. What have the players all of a sudden forgotten their discipline? They're professional rugby league players.
Matty, it's cat and mouse.
Yeah.
See, this is what happens, right? So the coaches just, they'll just watch the tape every single week, and they'll start to go, hey, listen, boys, they're starting to go soft on the ruck. Right, let's just lay a little bit longer. It's just cat and mouse the whole time, Matty. And I'm with the referees. I want cleaner rucks. Right? I don't want wrestling the game. I don't want players slowing the ruck so much that it becomes a defensive bias. So I support the referees on it. I have no problem with a week or two really cracking down, for playing the long game, and meaning that in a month's time when the finals come around, that it's a better style of football.